All right, we're live. Welcome, everyone. Today is a marathon. This is our third episode of the new podcast, Bringing Heaven to Earth, where we unite wisdom keepers, healers, and inspirational leaders to elevate the consciousness of our planet. We're broadcasting live from Ater Tumti Holistic Retreat in Guanacaste, Costa Rica. So, in a time of profound change and uncertainty, many of us are seeking hope and inspiration. So, in this podcast, we will share stories of healing, transformation, and empowerment, encouraging one another to rise together. I'm Veronica Carrera. I am the founder of Ater Tumti Holistic Retreat in Costa Rica. And today I have a phenomenal guest. Hillary Lender. I have her right here. She is a life transformational coach. And I just wanted, Hillary, I just want to welcome you to the show. I'm excited to have you here.
Thank you. I'm thrilled and excited to have this opportunity. Actually, as I was sitting here, a few things hit me. Just one of appreciation, having watched you over the last few years as you stepped into your power, into truth, and to honesty, into this beautiful vulnerability, into this space. So, thank you actually for just being your contribution and always showing up as you are.
Thank you, Hillary. It is a journey that I'm still on. It's like
Yeah.
finding my authenticity. And I believe that you find your authenticity by practicing and putting yourself out there and being truthful and courageous and sharing what's in your heart, what's your most authentic essence. So I thank you for being in this journey with me. And you have been one of my teachers in this last few years. So I just want to thank you for being here. I know you're going to be sharing so many nuggets of wisdom. So I want everyone to get ready. For those who are live, we want to thank you for being live with us. But then this recording is going to be broadcasted to many different channels. So thank you, Hillary. So I want to start asking you this question because today's show is about bringing heaven on earth. So this is actually the podcast is about bringing heaven to earth. And we're live here from Ater Tumti in Guanacaste, Costa Rica. What we want to do is we just want to help people understand what we mean by saying bringing heaven to earth. This is not religious. This is not, we don't mean to impose any beliefs or any dogmas. This is just about something else, something different. And so I'm going to ask you first, and what do you define bringing heaven to earth in your own life and practice? And what does that concept mean to you?
For me, it's a few things. One, bringing heaven on earth. I feel like in the past I've complicated it. And now, as sometimes I'm sitting here and I'm like, oh, it's actually laughably simple. And it's where it's like, oh, to bring heaven on earth, it's just getting a little bit softer every day. It's getting less reactive every day. It's stepping into, oh, creation. How did I create that? There's no blame, there's no victim. I'm the creator of my universe. Oh, and as I make these subtle shifts in how I show up, as I'm learning to be authentic and not trying to not putting on a face that says I'm something else or other than who I am, as I just release those patterns, I have actually finding that I'm spending less time here and more time in my heart. And now I'm creating a world of connection, a world of abundance, a world of uh, in delight, a world of light, a world of I would say I live in surprise and delight almost every day, almost every hour. Um, yeah, and it's simply seeing how I was showing up before. Oh, realizing that I was actually creating all of this for myself as the person in the center of my universe. And now I can actually choose something different.
All right,
heavy.
so let's unpack that. Let's unpack that because a lot of people, particularly since we started streaming live today, talked about being in the heart and not being in our minds. But then our minds are very important.
Yeah.
Yeah? They have an important role. So, what does that mean for Hillary to say, I'm more in my heart than in my mind?
Yeah. So for me, the mind is just a processor of thought. It's a filter. It's a lens, right? For me, it's been where there was a moment on my journey where I felt a literal pop. I felt an actual sensation right here in the heart. And I hadn't known that it was completely, it was as if I was nearly turned off from it. So as I'm in the heart space, it's trust, it's presence, it's being connected, it's here and now. There's no stories running in the mind,
Yes,
just
I
here.
continue. It's just, and you got me excited when you say it's about being present. So, what does it mean to be in the heart? It's really to be here now.
Yeah. Where before it was like, oh, I really learned how to live in the ego. I really learned, man, I was a master at that. And I found out and as I'm living in the ego, I'm using language of decrease, first of all. I'm creating unintentionally, but still creating. So using words like I can't, or I shouldn't, or words that contain energy of blame, instead of words like, oh, I feel, I know. And so before, it was always logic, pre planning, thinking.
Okay.
I think this. I must plan for this. I must um, like figure out the whole path from A to Z before I can take action. And now it's, oh, I've learning to just live in energy, like emotion. What? First of all, emotion is a thing. I was numb for so long in my life, right? And now I'm like, oh, emotion communicates to me is an indicator, a neon sign telling me if I'm seeing something in a high perspective or the highest perspective, or if I'm seeing something in a way that doesn't really work. If I'm experiencing emotions that are uncomfortable, oh, then I can see, okay, source doesn't see this situation the way that I'm seeing it right now. Source is simply just saying, hey, that's not in resonance. Okay,
Yeah.
you can now go through and say, oh, I'm curious. What's another perspective? Huh. What's another? Oh, I see. I'm being triggered. This is nothing about the other person. This is just source and my inner being communicating to me. So as I'm going from the mind, it's I think I have to know all the answers all in advance to, oh, okay, I'm defensive right now. Obviously, what they're saying has some truth to it. Ah, okay. If I'm not clear in what that message is quite yet, I'll communicate to a friend or a family member. I'll say, hold on, I'm defensive. That means I know that what you're saying is actually true and I may not want to look at it. So can you give me some time? And then we'll come back and then I'll let you know what I'm committed to doing moving forward.
And I think what you're referring to is really living in the heart is staying in the moment so that you can connect to your most authentic essence, to the highest version of yourself. And from that place, become an observant of your reality and show up in this world with others
Yeah.
in a
Yeah.
way that is more conscious
In a
and
way
that
that is conscious.
elevates everyone's consciousness around you.
Yeah.
And I understand that this is a journey for all of us, even for us who are seekers and devote our lives to expand people's consciousness. It's really a journey that we're all in it together. And there is one part of your story that I was very curious about, which is you talked about burnout.
Mm.
And you share the burnout is a gift.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's a story behind that. So can you share how this experience served as a turning point and what it taught you about living authentically?
Yeah. Yeah. So there's a lot there. But burnout actually was the invitation to claim freedom. It was the invitation to actually step back and say, oh, something isn't working. This
Mm.
isn't working. There has to be another way. I didn't know what at the time. And yeah, so just to paint a picture, um, uh, at the time, so let's see, growing up, I was 300 pounds. Um, Growing up, I, I didn't even feel comfortable. Like I was so insecure. I could never like just drive in a car with somebody without like, oh, how do I laugh? Or,
Mm,
oh, how
God,
do I
so
show up?
self-aware.
Yeah, there was so much negative self-talk. And it grew and grew and grew. And to the point, and then even when I was in the corporate world, I found myself sitting in meetings and I couldn't even pay attention to what was happening in the meeting because I had so much mental chatter about, oh, how do I sit here? Oh, what do I do? How do I hold my pen? They're
Yeah.
so focused that I was literally like, now that I can see, it's like I was totally constricting and life force energy was just coming up and drop like that energy that gives life. It was like I was literally killing myself. And that's just the life that I was living, right? And so finally, and then during COVID, I was doing turning into 80-hour work weeks. I was leading a marketing department and all these things. And I was just like, huh. And I had known previously that there was a different path. I had known 2 years before that, but I don't know what it is. Nope, can't do it, can't do it. Can't quit my job. I don't know what this
It's
is.
scary.
This is weird. This is all weird. This woo-woo stuff. And then I was like, I was looking at my like, yeah. And I had looked to see how much my income was about to double to a couple $100,000 a year. I was like, sweet, I made it. But I was like, huh, huh, I can't do this. And so anyway, so I resisted leaving the corporate world. And yet it was still meant to be. It was still meant for me to leave. And so after I resisted that one time and I didn't hear it, I love how Oprah says first source sends you a little, pebble as a hey, then it soars like then source sends a little like a brick, and then there's this whole wall, an avalanche, right? To say wake up. So I said no at that point a couple years before my burnout. And so Source said, okay, let's see what you create. And then
Maybe let's pause for a second and explain
thank
to
you.
the viewers what source, what you mean by source.
Yeah. So source is simply how I refer to God now, higher being, or yeah, the greater power, the great I am presence, different things. And so non-religious for me, well, and just a spiritual sense. How's that?
The spiritual sense. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, yeah. And so in other words, yeah, there's like I know I have a mission and a purpose, and the burnout was actually the moment where I gave myself permission to pursue that. You guys just met Dottie Dave.
That's
Let her
right.
out.
Yeah, that's right. This is a really great conversation. And as Hillary is taking care of Dottie, in regards to, what do we mean by source? What do we mean by God? What do we mean? It's really just that highest and most pure essence of this universe
Yeah,
that we're all connected to, that guides us to our greatest happiness and joy. And so, what is that voice? We can call it whatever names, whatever we want to call it. And I have a global, inclusive view of how we all are woven together in this beautiful frequency of the divine. So thank you for bringing that, that awareness or the conversation, the brave conversation of even bringing this frequency into what we're talking about in regards to burnout. But go ahead and continue in regards to you were conflicted because you were about to get an offer that gave you a salary that many people aspire to, and at the same time something else was calling you. And
Yeah.
I know very well that conflict, so tell me more.
Okay, so 2 years before the burnout came, I had looked at all the stocks, all the investments that were happening, and I looked to my boss's boss and I said, okay, I know my boss would like to have somebody else in this role. There'd been restructuring, but I know I could have advocated for myself and I could have stayed. And yeah, I went to my boss's boss and I said, you know what? It's okay to let me go. I can't do it because I just looked at all my investment, but if it is meant to be, let it. And then I was like, okay, that's fine. Like that's where I was. Anyway, I instead of actually embracing the change, instead of actually going into this new world, I clung on like I do sometimes, and I found another job and I was going. But you know what? I was still inauthentic. I was still so in my head. I was still living at in here and at this lower vibration, and stress, the anxiety, all of these things just really pushing. And so thank God that burnout came, because it finally is what got me to stop. It got me to pause, and it got me to say, okay, show me what else. And then
It's the intelligence of your body telling you to
yeah.
stop.
And like I said before, like heaven, like what I now know from living in the heart is that to be in the heart space means to be communicating and allowing emotion to come through, energy and motion, and actually allowing that to be communication. If I'm not in joy, if I'm in discomfort, well, something is not in alignment. Either it's my perspective, it is my perspective. I'm blaming somebody. I'm going into victim mode. I'm doing all these things when actually, oh, it's just a little signal that says, hold on a second. Let's look at this differently. Let's look at this the way source would look at it.
Interesting, because in this path that we're on, and listen, I'm an executive coach. I love what I do. I love working with companies and helping them be successful, with individuals who want to be successful in their professional careers, because I think it's a calling as well. And then there's this other side of me where I also do this, what you and I are doing, help people expand their consciousness. And when you talk about the heart, the mind, and the heart, really what it is a compass, the compass
Yes.
of your soul.
Yeah. It's a
And
GPS.
it's a GPS. Let's call it that way. That's beautiful. If we can find a metaphor, it's a compass of your soul. And when your body is not aligned to that compass, when the decisions around your mind are not allowed to the compass, which is the essence, the pure essence of your soul, that's where sickness starts.
Yeah.
Because there is a lack of coherence, there is a lack of alignment. So our body sometimes shut down.
Yeah.
Through burnout, through illness, or perhaps emotionally, through what some of us may have experienced, depression or anxiety. Is your body screaming to you
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
giving you an alert to say, you're off your center, you're off your compass, you're off course?
Yeah.
Recalculate, recalculate. The GPS is just saying recalculate. And that is how I connect to your story when you say it was a gift
Yeah.
to experience burnout. And actually, that is one of my mantras I learned from this Kabbalah. He says often, what a gift when something happens that is challenging in our lives.
Yeah. Well, and it comes back down to, okay, so what am I, now what I know from my core belief is that, okay, I'm never a victim. If something is in my space, I've created it in some way. I've called it forth in some way. And so it's like, oh, I'm an accountable being. This is something else that I've learned is that, oh, when I was in burnout, I was constantly living in victim. When I was in burnout and life leading up to that, and I was constantly wanting to blame other people, constantly, and would refuse to actually see that I have choice at every moment, even when I have these automatic reactions, right? Have our automatic neural pathways that have been creating. I continue to choose to feed it. Now, I can also choose to interrupt. I can also choose to create new patterns. And so, oh, I can interrupt those thought patterns. It's not easy. And I got to tell you, it was slow going.
Love it, because you're talking about that when you hit rock bottom, what many of us call rock bottom, and we feel that there is no way forward, or that there's no way that we can get up. When we finally start rising, even though we don't know the path forward, we create new neurological pathways. We're teaching our mind and our body a new way forward.
Completely rebooting the system.
Rebooting the system, rebooting the computer.
Yeah.
Because the software, our soul, always knows the path,
Right.
always knows the way. It is we, this entity, our personality, the persona that we have created, the mind, sometimes taking us a different direction.
Yeah.
And simply is that metaphor that you beautifully explained, or you beautifully brought up to the conversation, which is the GPS.
Yeah. Well, and what I learned is that, oh, my mind is in control of the personality. My heart, though, is actually what tells the personality to do, right? And so
Yeah.
I don't know, I look back, I've been doing some research around borderline personality disorder, and I swear I was pretty close to that. I was not showing up in a way that worked. Let's just say that, right? I was difficult relationships and like but it took honesty. It took to look at the way what I have become and seeing that's not me. I am not my personality. Oh, I can actually call forth experiences to shift and to start changing. And that comes down with choice and actually being open to. At first, I didn't buy in on choice, but then, okay, let me see if there's truth to choice, and then to start practicing that. And then, and now I'm continuously seeing where I'm going with that.
I love that, what you mentioned, because it's something new that I continue to share with my own clients. You're not your personality. I am not my personality. If I know I'm not my personality, the times that I have shown up as not my highest self, this person that sometimes I don't like, the times that I act in ways that are not loving, that are not thoughtful, that are not helpful,
Yeah.
then I can actually observe it.
Yeah.
And in a compassionate way.
Yeah.
I can observe myself, hold myself, bring myself back, and knowing that I'm not my personality, I can come back to my center.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You know what? Honestly, I experienced something yesterday. I got to experience it was my partner's birthday, and here we are. I've been super excited. We're going out to dinner. I've been super excited about this, and I And then all of a sudden I started getting like triggered or emotional. I was like making it about him or whatnot. And then finally I'm like, oh, hold on a second. These are some powerful emotions. Obviously, it's not about him. He's such a wonderful person and man that he's just like, okay, I'm just gonna sit for a minute and just we can be okay. And then I was like, okay, what is this emotion really about? Oh,
You can
I'm
observe.
afraid that I'm a burden. I'm afraid that you're trying to pawn me off onto something else. I'm afraid, oh, this has nothing to do with you. And then, oh, how did I just show up? I was totally reactionary. I was totally shutting him down. I was totally not wanting to hear and not allow. And I was like, oh my gosh. So all of a sudden, what could have been like one of those nights that just go downhill, it was one of those nights of, oh, and I even saw where the pattern came from. I saw all these things. I'm like, okay. And then I said, hey, babe, I can see that this is something that I've seen a lot in my life. All right. So I'm committed to shift this and react differently moving forward. And then we talked about coming up with a safe word or coming up with something to be like, hey, that like, oh, I'm doing it again or something like that. And that's okay. And all of a sudden, not only did we enjoy the evening together, but we both felt more intimacy. We felt more trust. We felt more connection and this whole other vibration in the meal.
And that's the work. That's the
And that's
work,
the
exactly.
work.
Obviously. Um, so let's change gears a little bit. I know that you left corporate America, but I think people are curious. Like, what are you doing now?
Yeah. So it's interesting. I've just been free falling for the last, 3, 4 years. And last year, I'm starting my life business, coaching business. And I'm like, I don't know what that looks like. And it manifested in two different ways. One is I do have clients that I meet one-on-one with over the phone, and we just talk, and there's certain principles that I live by, and they just come up in our conversation. And that's around accountability, being a creator, and actually listening to the heart and the resonance there, and getting into and then actually start rewriting some beliefs and into manifestation, right? So that's the one thing. The other thing, though, also, which has been really incredible, is that again, I didn't declare what it had to look like. I'm also a host home mentor, so I have a client that lives with me, and then I'm actually paid to be me and to assist this person in learning skills to actually live independently. And so between the two, I've been creating this beautiful space to continue to do my own work, continue to show up and learn, and then also have my means met or my needs met and be able to have my beautiful home and all those things. So yeah, I'm paid, Veronica. It's interesting where before I was in burnout and from because I was living inauthentically, totally in my head and like, oh, how do I do this? I am paid to simply be me and to be myself. That's it.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. And I know that that journey to feel abundant financially and living your purpose at the same time can be a rocky
Yeah.
road until people feel like, yes, I actually can sustain myself financially and feel abundant as I live my purpose. So I honor you for being courageous and from following your truth and start to see the fruits of your heart, of your labor of love. Now, I want to end with a couple of questions here. I know you and I are students of A Course in Miracles. If you can just share with me, what are some of the most powerful truths that have helped you in your own journey as a human being and as a coach that you have learned from this beautiful book or this beautiful course?
Okay. Few things. First of all, one is maybe not expected, is that's actually where I started feeling the experience of energy and seeing the vortex that can come in this. Now I see this world as this energy world. When I first started A Course in Miracles, Course in Miracles is written into contains three different frequencies it's broken into. And the first few months of reading it, I experienced this like scrambling. I'm like, I don't know anything anymore. I can't comprehend anything. I'm just like, I don't know what happened. I'm like, I don't know what's going on. But I kept going. And because of that, because I didn't know what was happening, oh, I got to experience energy. I got to experiencing it come, burning out things that doesn't serve this vortex and allowing new coding to come in. So kind of an experience that's like what kind of that's what's the word? Anyway, a little bit different, but it actually got my attention, right? And thank goodness I was patient. The other thing is that the truth that I love is again. I don't see the world as it is. I see the world only as I am. Everything is a
Sit with
mirror.
that. Sit with that. And maybe if you can tell us what that means
Yeah.
and bring it into this reality.
Okay.
I don't see the world as it is. I see the
Yeah.
world as I am.
So if I'm experiencing, and I did, a lot of depression, a lot of shame, a lot of guilt, I was embodying, I was living, I was being the energy of shame, guilt. That's just what I knew. And so the world reflects back what is just happening internally with my level of consciousness, my level of awareness. So then, oh, if I'm like, oh, okay, sweet. Oh, I'm experiencing joy. I'm in alignment. Let's just move forward. Let's create. Let's go. Let's get it. If I
That's
find, okay, I have some work to do to get into alignment here.
So that's it. The
That's
world is really just a reflection of our inner state, of the frequency that we're on ourselves. And that's what the world mirrors back to us.
yeah.
And really, that's one of the greatest teachings of A Course in Miracles. Uh, Thank you for sharing that, Hilary. I want to ask you one final question.
Okay.
The theme or the name of this podcast is Bringing Heaven to Earth. Tell me and share with me, what are your hopes for the future as you help others navigate this path of consciousness? How do you envision bringing heaven to earth through your work?
Yeah. It's beautiful. As you even asked that, I just feel this beautiful energy surging through me. It's walking down the street or driving through the car and recognizing that every single soul that I see is a divine being. Recognizing that we are all creators, we're all having this whole beautiful experience. It means being able to like to connect. It means that walking around knowing that the other person has it, they've got it, I've got me, knowing that we can actually create beautiful experiences of love, of joy, of trust as we open up, knowing that everybody is showing up perfectly for where they are right now, and knowing that I'm showing up perfectly. And this is all part of the plan. This is all part of our contract, like of what we came here to experience. That this isn't our first rodeo, that this is something that yeah, there's a remembrance as I look around and as we see each
Remember,
other. Yeah.
um, and while you were talking, you made me think about the collective consciousness that gets created in the world. And sometimes that may seem kind of dark or may seem so chaotic. And as I observe it, and at times being part of it, and as we're seeking to create this new reality together of bringing heaven to earth, also honoring this powerful destruction and transition and rebuilding of
Yeah.
what it needs to be, or what already is, and it's just unfolding before our eyes. So the way that we can hold each other through these times of uncertainty, these times that feel at times chaotic, I would say, I'm trying to think of there are no right words to say it. There's just constant change. And there's always, you look at social media, there's always something happening. I take a deep breath and I tell myself, what is my role? What is my role in this time of history?
Yeah, and
What is that I'm asked to do?
yeah, and okay, I can focus on all those things that really I can't change right now, but what I can do is focus here. What I can do is actually clear my own perspective, my own limiting beliefs, my own energy body, my own what is radiating from me. And as I radiate joy, as I am in alignment, that gives other people around me, ooh, a taste of what that energy is. Oh, I feel that too. And then that assists to awaken the next and the next and the next. But it's none of my business what the other person's doing as far as judging or anything like that. As I continue to do my own work, I'm raising my own frequency, which then will raise the collective as a whole as well.
That's right. And everyone has a calling on what their role is. Yeah. And they're activists, they're human rights activists, they're healers, they're corporate America leaders, they're transformational life coaches, whatever you're called to do in this moment in history.
Yes.
The most important thing is the knowledge and the certainty of what unites us all. Then we're all part of the oneness. That there is no separation between us. And then we're all called to inspire the best and the highest expression of our humanity. So that is, to me, what we mean by bringing heaven to earth. Bringing the higher frequency of the better angels in all of us. And I just want to thank you for the work that you do, Hillary. You are a phenomenal teacher, a spiritual teacher, and transformational life coach. So it's an honor to have been in this episode with you together. This is our first day. I feel like we're just warming up to what this podcast of bringing heaven to earth is. It already is and what's going to become. And I want to thank you for walking this journey with me.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you.
Any final words to the audience?
Just right now, I know that there is a lot going on. I also know there is so much love. There is so much connection. There is so much abundance, and it's all here. And it's right in front of us.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you for bringing the light, because there's not just darkness, there's so much light as well.
Yeah.
So thank you, and thank you for bringing that beautiful light, and thank you everyone for listening to one more episode of Bringing Heaven to Earth. I just want to share that I'm Veronica Carrera, the founder of Ater Tumti Holistic Retreat in Costa Rica. We have some phenomenal transformational retreats happening this year, starting on January 22nd. Hillary is coming. Other good friends are coming. So please go and check out our events at www.atertumticostarica.com. You can also follow us on Instagram. So I look forward to connecting with you, and have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you.